Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Kennedy, the pastor and executive director here at Free Spiritual Community, and I'm here with my boy Jeff Gostovich. Jeff has been a member of this Free Spiritual Community for a few months now. I started coming back in May, so
yeah, about 8 months ago.
Last 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to jump into Jeff sharing some of his story with us. And Jeff, let's start with first, thanks for being here today. Thanks for being brave and courageous to share some with us. I want people to hear from you. You wear a bracelet that says breaking the silence of addiction. That's our mission here at Free, is to break the silence of addiction, because we have a silence problem around this, a stigma still around addiction.
For sure.
You wear this bracelet. This mission has become really important to you on a personal level.
Oh yeah.
And I want people to hear from you why you wear that bracelet, what it's brought about, and what it means to you.
Great question. Well, thanks for having me. It feels good to be of service and to be up on stage with you here and sharing my story with everybody out there, all my friends and family, and that know I struggle with alcohol, but I'm getting finally to a place where I'm starting to own it versus it owning me. And the story behind the bracelet's pretty interesting. I found it the first day I came to Free back in May.
Yeah.
It was in a gift bag for newcomers that you give out every service.
Yep.
Little coffee, a wristband, and I put that thing on, and I haven't taken it off since, Ryan.
Yeah. And you wear it so that people can read it. You don't wear it so that you can read it.
Yeah,
you wear it
no,
for
it's for
to read.
Right, and it's because of that. It's opened up so many conversations with people, whether I'm at the airport, at a restaurant, at the office. It doesn't matter. It has been a door opener for getting my story out, because they ask, what is breaking the silence of? Because the addiction's on the underside. You can't see it all. So I'll be like, it's of addiction. And, I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I'm helping to break the silence thanks to the message that Free, you, Pastor Ryan, have given us, that there's no shame in sharing and breaking the silence. The stigma of addiction today is the number one oppressor, I think, of recovery.
Yep.
And the more we get the word out that it's okay to share, it's okay to be not okay.
Yeah, and not only is it okay, it actually saves lives.
It saved mine.
And Jeff, I want to say this too. Jeff is an oil and gas executive, so there would be good reason to kind of put on the strong man suit. I've got this. I'm holding it together. So when you're in that industry, wearing that bracelet, and then openly sharing your story, what's it meant?
So,
and what's the fear around that? What's the shame?
That's the key, the fear. So You're right. In my industry and with the position I have, there's a leadership that I've tried to keep impenetrable from I've got it all together, right? Yeah. On the front side of the curtain, out on the stage, it all looks pretty. But behind the curtain, it's a hot mess express. And
hot mess express, I love
and
it.
Sharing that, revealing that curtain to, as a result of being a part of Free and as a result of some hard fought through therapy to share and get this out there, I've let people back into the curtain or behind the curtain now to see I don't have it all together.
Yeah.
I'm broken. And a lot of people are. And as soon as I started sharing that with my investors, my clients, my colleagues, my family, which my family's always known, but my extended family, people within Free's community sharing at meetings that we go to, it really has been cathartic to me insofar as I see now that my biggest fear that I was going to lose people, especially clients and investors, that was my biggest fear, right? Don't mess with my work. Don't mess with my money. And if I share, that's going to go away. It was the exact opposite, Ryan. It was the biggest affirmation of the decision to become open with it, come out of the dark hole that I was, reveal that it's not all perfect. Because it started conversations that I never thought I'd see myself having with the people I thought had it all together.
So when you talk about the dark hole, sharing some of your experiences with people, what was that? Just so people watching can get a feel for, what was the darkness like? What was the pain? What was it like?
Crushing. lonely. The darkness for me was the most away from God I've ever been. At least I felt it was. He was there the whole time, but I didn't know it. I was isolating myself to a point where I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to pick up my phone for days at a time.
Yeah.
And that's the exact opposite of who I was in my normal days of drinking, if I've ever had any. I was social. I was out there all the time. The first one to be throwing a party, the last one to leave the party. Now I didn't want to have any party. I wanted to be me and the bottle by myself. And that was crushing, to the point where last May, after oil prices crashed to minus $40 a barrel, and 6 weeks later I'm in the hospital, put myself there through drinking myself into a pulmonary embolism situation that caused me to be in ICU for 3 days and detox for 3 days after that. And that's where I found the rooms of AA. It's where it's led to me joining you, and I pulled out of that darkness, thank God, by the grace of God, through admitting it.
Yeah, and I think it's important too. When we were talking out in the hallway, you said normal people don't understand this. I mean, normal people are going to look at Jeff and say, and when I say normal people, I mean those of you that don't battle addiction. You've never really understood addiction. You know some people in your life who have battled, but you don't battle it. And so we look at someone like Jeff, and we say, Jeff, this would surely make you stop drinking, right? I mean, 3 days in the ICU, I don't know what the doctor said to you, but I'm assuming they said, Jeff, stop drinking. And so this would be enough to get you to stop, but it wasn't, right?
It wasn't. Found myself drinking again 6 months after that. I went 6 months without it, and I was rah-rah, telling everybody
You beat it.
I'm recovered.
Yeah.
Look at me now. And that's what got me into trouble, is thinking I had it beat. Because as soon as I thought that, it proved to me that it's always going to be there. And it took me down, and harder this time. Not physically. I didn't end up in the hospital again as a result of drinking. I have been in the hospital since then for falling and hitting my head. But I didn't put myself in an ICU because of the blood clotting issues. I just damaged my life more. I damaged the people around me, the people I love the most, my family, mom and dad. I know I've hurt you more than anybody, and you don't deserve that. And that seems to get progressively worse.
Yeah.
You hurt the ones you love the most,
Yeah.
especially when drinking. Each time I've lapsed, that the progression of this disease is very palpable, very strong, because it's so true. I don't care whether it's 3 drinks or 30. That damage that I do is way worse than the last time.
And it's why, it's why we say all the time, this disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful.
So
because
cunning.
you think you have it beat. Look at me. You're on the recovery rally, and
I'm a solution guy, right? Yeah. I'm a closer. I get stuff done. And
it sneaks up on you when you think you had it. And you're like, where the heck did this come
It's
from?
way more powerful than me. I am powerless over this disease. Yeah. And the only way to keep it at bay, because it'll never be gone. It'll always be an animal that can terrorize my life. To keep it in its cage, it's all about breaking my own silence, sharing it with people that are watching this right now.
And Jeff, why is that important to you? Why is it important to share it?
Humility. It forces humility on a level that I've never had before. I've always been a pretty ego-driven guy, type A, alpha male, whatever you want to call it. Humility was something that always was elusive. It is forcing humility on me, and the humility is the most important part, because once I realized that this little tiny chemical that we can't even see, the alcohol chemical, can take this 6'4", 280-pound man down, that's humbling. Yeah. And once I get that humility, anything's possible if I stay there and stay present with it. So sharing, breaking the silence is all about humility for me.
And I think when we talk about sharing our experiences, sharing our story, part of the fear is, they're going to turn on me. They're gonna do this to me. They're going to shun me. I'm going to be less than. And I just think it's so interesting from your perspective, Jeff. You and I share similar perspectives on this. I got honest with people, and I found a lot of grace. I found a lot of, me too. Yeah. Talk to us about that. Have you heard the Me Too's?
Oh, yeah. So the people that I thought had it all together. I work with a lot of very successful people, investors, clients, that you would think on the surface have it all together.
Yeah.
And then once I came out with this and told them I don't have it all together, they're like, really? Me too. I don't have it all together. I struggle. What are you doing? How are you keeping this tiger at bay? Because I'm not. That's them speaking to me after I came out. And that is, the power. The biggest thing for me to take away the power of the drink is to share that I have a craving, or to speak to another alcoholic about their issue.
Yeah.
Get out of my own head and help others. So part of this process has revealed a lot of people in my world that I never would have guessed are now also coming. They're breaking their own silence thanks to me just sitting down and going, hey man, these last 10 years when you thought I had it all together, I didn't. I've been hiding it from you. I've been lying. And some of them knew. Some were like, oh yeah, you thought you were hiding it, but we knew.
We're not as good secret keepers as we
No, I know. But some didn't. Some I was able to keep it from. I don't know how. But on both sides, there was a good mix of people that also said, me too. What are you doing now to help? And I talk about free. I talk about AA. I talk about celebrate recovery. I talk about smart recovery. I'm trying it all, right? I have nothing to lose by getting a piece of everybody's story that's been successful at beating this.
And another reason we do this, what we talked about at the beginning, breaking the stigma. Because when you share your story, when you say, I'm an alcoholic, I know what this battle of addiction is like. I know where it's brought me to my knees. You're giving other people permission to go into their story, giving other people permission to own who they are and what they've been through. And it's why we say in this community all the time, what do we say?
We don't do shame.
We don't do shame.
And I love
there's
that.
So much shame associated with who we are as people and the things we've been through in life, the messes we've created, and we just build up all this shame, and that shame tells us, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anyone, because they're not going to like you.
They're not going to like you. That is so huge for somebody like me.
Yeah.
I always seek that third-party affirmation, that outside affirmation of others. And I'm finally, I wouldn't wish alcoholism on anybody, but anybody that struggles with not loving themselves, try a little bit of alcoholism and getting into a program that teaches you to love yourself through, knowing that it's not about they're not going to like me. It's about community, fellowship, sharing your weaknesses along with your strengths, and learning to love yourself by sharing your story with others. This has been so powerful for me. It's going to sound funny, but I've never loved myself more than I do right now.
Yeah.
I'm 49 years old, just turned it last week, and I am just now learning I kind of like this guy.
Yeah. It's funny. I was meeting with a friend of mine today, and I asked him how he defines joy. And he said, I like myself. And I almost asked him, like, dude, what do you mean by that? And it dawned on me as I was getting ready to ask that question. He doesn't hate himself anymore.
Right.
That's like the purest form of joy, when we can learn to stop hating ourselves. So I love when you say, man, I'm liking this guy right here.
Finally.
There's a deep humility in that. That's not an arrogance of, I've got it all together, I like myself. That's this God-created thing, me, I don't hate me anymore.
We're all created in his image.
Yeah.
And I'm finally seeing what that image looks like. Flaws and all. Jesus wasn't perfect. I'm certainly not. But we're all created in God's image. And how could you not love that?
Yeah.
But you have to be willing, for me, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I have to be willing to embrace my cracks just as much as my strengths.
Yeah.
Because those cracks aren't going away. I'm always going to be an alcoholic. I'm always going to be an addict. I'm always going to be a workaholic.
Yeah.
But embracing the strengths that come from that, because it takes a lot of work to be an alcoholic. It really does.
I know what you mean.
I know you know. That is not an easy thing. People think, oh, you just sit back and drink all day. No, you got to figure out how to hide it. You got to figure out how to get home without getting busted for DUIs sometimes. You got to roll the dice all the time.
Yeah.
You're constantly dealing with anxiety.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. So that work ethic it takes to become and to stay within the throes of alcoholism, if you can just pick that piece out of it, leave the rest, and apply it to servicing others, talking, sharing, breaking the silence of addiction, that's the silver lining in alcoholism.
Yeah. So, Jeff, in about 10 seconds, if there's someone watching who's deep in the midst of battle right now, what would you say to them?
You're not alone. I've been there. I'm here. Talk to me. Reach out to somebody, whether it's me, whether it's Pastor Ryan, whether it's somebody in your community, your church, your family. Share it. Break your own silence, because there isn't as much shame on the other side of that as you think there is. In fact, there's probably a lot of love and grace coming your way, because I experienced that. Share it.
Thanks, Jeff. Man, I love you, brother. I'm glad you're part of this community. And I'll close with saying, yeah, you're not alone, but you got to reach out. If you want to be connected in this community, we would invite you to be here on a Saturday night. This community gathers every Saturday night at 7 p.m. It's a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And our goal, our mission here is to break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And we would love for you to join us. All right, peace out, everyone.